Okay, so you're welcome. Thank you for coming through to this conversation about relationship and Christianity. My name is Eunice and I'm your host, and I'm happy to have this discussion with you as young men. Of course, definitely, we want to know who is here, so I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves.
Yes.
Yes.
My name is Edward Enyuk. I work with Teen Challenge Uganda and I'm based in Gulu campus. And thankful to be here. It's a privilege to share some light about topics that we want to come up with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nyuk. Yes, let's hear from the second.
I'm Charles Nyeko Todwong, and it's an honor and a privilege to be hosted by Miss Eunice. Thank you very much for having me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Paul Alonyo, and I'm so honored to be here to share such a wonderful encouragement to our youth outside there.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Paul. Okay, so I have a few questions that I want us to explore, especially about this topic on relationships and Christianity. And we want to hear from you because we know some of these things you've experienced, but you've also seen other people experience this. And we want to learn from you. And the first question, I will throw it out there, and whoever wants to go first goes first. How can young Christians balance their faith with the pressures of modern dating culture?
Thank you. Thank you for that question.
Yes.
First and foremost, I would like to describe what, to me, a relationship is.
Okay.
Most of the time, we venture or enter into relationships based on what people can give us.
Okay.
But I would define that a relationship is a place where people go and are supposed to give.
Interesting.
Yes, and to me, having that understanding and basing it on how the world views it, it would mean a lot, because wherever you go, you need to have relationships that you form.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what society, background, or family that you come from, or whatever space or environment you go in.
Yeah.
And really making relationships is key to actually moving forward in life. Because no man is an island. We need each other. We need each other.
We need each other. Yeah.
Yes. So, with that understanding of what relationship is, I would briefly say that for any youth that is venturing into a relationship out there, they will need to understand that this is very important and it's of priority in each and every person's life, because we cannot live on our own. But we can only depend on each other.
Yes.
And more so the relationships we form in the environments we're in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
He gets to define what relationships are. Can we hear from you, Mr. Charles?
First and foremost, I just want to second him there when he took up time and said that everyone needs somebody. It's very important to actually have relationships, and not only as a Christian but also as a human being.
Yes.
You need to be able to have someone that you can actually do life with.
Yes.
And one thing I know for certain that is very, very important in having a relationship is, number one, one's personal relationship with God. Because if you have a good relationship with God, then this other relationship between me and you, or me and the person that I'm seeing or dating, is going to be much easier, because then I'm doing it right by God.
Yes.
Okay. Just like it says that. Okay, basically, anything short of that will be me being selfish, or it will be for my own selfish gain.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it makes sense to actually have your relationship with God in synchronization. Once you have that, then my relationship with you is going to be much easier. Everything will flow. It wouldn't be so much of a hassle because I'm doing it right by God.
Yeah.
And then also I also have the blessing from God for that relationship to actually take place.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Those are key things to note. Working out your relationship with God actually makes things easier to actually even have a better relationship with other fellow human beings, or even the person you're in a relationship with, or someone you are in love with, or someone you are dating. Because if you don't have a relationship with God, it means it's not going to be easy really to love people, to care for people. And we will get to, maybe as we have the conversation, we'll get to hear from them some of those key principles that we need to look out for us to tell that indeed someone is having a healthy and safe relationship with their partner. So I will want to also hear from Mr. Paul. What do you think about this whole dating culture, but also how young people can really maintain their faith?
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity once again.
Yeah.
No, our youths are really struggling with relationship these days.
That's a huge one. Yes.
So we need some enlightenment. So I think relationship is not a bad thing.
It is not.
The reason,
and people shy away actually from talking about these things. Okay, please proceed.
Because even God himself, he needed a relationship with us.
Yeah.
That's why he created man in his own likeness.
Yeah.
So according to how the Bible tells us, we have to be in relationship.
Yes.
Doesn't matter our color, it doesn't matter our culture.
Yes.
Yeah, can love anyone.
Yes.
This world, from any tribe, from
no
any
limitations.
nation. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, actually, we've had people marry from Africa. They go to Europe.
Okay, the intermarriages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do so, and we have to do it in the rightful way. As my brothers have said, when your relationship with God is poor, it means your relationship with your fellow human beings is also going to be very poor. So we have to first build on our relationship with God. Then all these other relationships will just flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would like to encourage my fellow youths. Let's first deal with the relationship with God, and then the rest will just flow.
So let me ask a funny question to all of you. If you found a girl and you told them you liked them, and they told you, but I love, when you tell them you love them, and they tell you I love Jesus more, would you still date them? And they tell you will always be second, and God and Jesus will always be first.
I'll date her most.
You would date her most. Let's hear from you, Charles.
Well, before I wouldn't, but now, now that I have gotten to understand that actually a girl that loves Jesus understands what true love is, because she knows the sacrificial kind of love.
Wow, yes.
The kind of love that holds no record of wrongs. Now, that's the kind of love that I would want for myself. Yeah. And that's the kind of love that I would also want to share with someone's daughter. Yeah.
Yes, to shed some light on that. Like he said that God created us for a relationship. And I think we know the scriptures are clear that a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one. We believe God supports that, and he's the author of that relationship, and he's the one that actually puts you together to be joined to your wife, because the whole purpose as to why we date or we go into dating is because the end goal is marriage.
Yes.
We as Christians should not be going into dating because the world
for fun.
Yeah, for fun. Like the world shows
no fun.
Like, you know, there's so many things people go into.
Yeah.
People that take people into dating, but if the end goal is not marriage, then it's not the rightful way. God has asked us to be joined together.
Okay.
Yes.
It's interesting. You want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something.
Please come through.
He's actually right, and just to shed some more light on that, is because most of us have been brought up in cultures whereby the way of life is, for instance, you meet a girl, you start dating her. Once you begin to live together, you're already married, or you're taken as you're married. Okay. And that is so wrong. And I grew up, my friends used to tell me, by the way, I got married, and I'm like, bro, you didn't even call me for your wedding. But in actual sense, what they meant by that is they are cohabiting.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times I felt left out because I did not understand why they would begin living together even before they have gotten married.
Yes.
And that actually kind of made me feel like I'm left out, because many of them went on that way, and well, that's the way they are up to today. But I've seen that it is safe to put up boundaries and to set a standard.
Yes.
Now, more especially that I am a Christian, it has to make more sense that it has to be done the right way. And through that, even the lineages to come from me will see, because then I'll have godly children that are a gift and a blessing directly from the Lord.
Okay.
So it means away with the past that our parents used to do way back, whereby they just got children and they got married even before church and everything, so that the rest that will come from me will now follow exactly dad and mom's example.
Okay.
For the children from wedlock. Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting to note, and I love how you all the three of you are willing to be second choices. Eh?
Yeah.
They're willing to be second choices. But I also like what you state, especially that you noted that indeed God created us because he wanted to have a relationship with us. And I think that is really important. And how you feel that if you date someone who is really, who loves God, who loves Christ, then you know that there is this kind of love that you're also going to experience. Yes. One that is so enduring, one that is that keeps no records of wrong. And I think that's something that sometimes lacks in relationships.
A lot.
Yes, because someone does something and then the next day they are being ghosted. By the way, I have my Christian friends. I have my Christian girlfriends who keep telling me, these friends keep telling me, there's so many Christian brothers out there who keep ghosting people in relationships. What do you have to say about that? Now you can speak for the men. Why do men ghost women?
I think there we need to first understand what you mean by ghosting exactly. Is it like we've begun speaking today and then tomorrow out of the blue I just disappeared?
Yes,
like I'm MIA, missing in action? Or is that what you mean?
Yes. So by ghosting, I mean disappearing. You've started speaking with this person, you're in talking stages, because there are different stages of relationships. Yeah. You're in talking stages, and then you've already excited this girl. At a certain point, you disappear. You stop. The person who has been calling for like 10 times a day, he reduces calls to one, maybe one call a week.
Wow.
What happens? Okay, so what really happens in there? Maybe from your experiences, but also maybe the people that you've interacted with, fellow men.
From experiences, of course, with friends, and also my personal experiences. The stage. We have to know, number one, we have to know why we are getting into a relationship at first. That is very, very important. Because some go there for different, of course, things.
Okay.
Some have different intentions. The human heart is designed to have desires that it craves for, it likes, it likes this, it's desiring this at this age. So, and the Bible talks about our heart is deceitful.
Yeah.
So, and remember, we're dealing with humankind, men that were fallen at one time, and were bound to sin. So, we see that people come into relationships not knowing what they want. So they like the certain things that happen in a relationship, or they like things that happen in a marriage that only God has designed to be in marriage. Yeah. But they're not willing to take responsibility and be able to also take charge of what they've started or finish what they've started, because it's very, very common for people to start things and never finish them these days. And that also happens in relationships too. And we've seen men, of course, fall culprits of that. But going back to my point that you need to understand the reason as to why you're entering into a relationship. If your end goal is not marriage or family or covenant, then I don't know why you're awakening love before. I don't know why you're
don't awaken emotions you're not going to address.
Yes. Okay. Do not awaken. The Bible says do not awaken love before it's due, because it's another responsibility. It's another the whole dimension.
It's like a ministry of its own.
Yes, you need to give. First of all, one of the factors that actually maintains a relationship is communication.
Yes,
so the moment you start ghosting someone, just know that relationship is going to fail. Because what sustains a relationship, one of the things that sustains a relationship is communication. Is speaking, talking to each other, calling each other. If it's late night calls, are you willing to put in the time to call that person? If really the end goal is marriage?
Yes, I want to hear from you. What do you think? But before actually you come in, I think I've noted something from you, Mr. Enyuk, Edward. It's something very important. Before you get to go into a relationship, first understand what the goal is. Indeed, there's so many people, actually, young people who get into a relationship not knowing what they really want in that relationship. And in the process, we are hurting people. We are breaking hearts, which hearts are also going to go on and also break others.
Because hurting people hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's true.
So it's going to be really a disaster for the community. But let's hear from Mr. Paul. What are your thoughts as well about this specific conversation?
About guys ghosting after dating like 2 or 3 days, like a week. Yeah, that's true. Especially when your heart is full of evil desires. Sometimes we get attracted to other things with some bad influence, some bad desires in our hearts. But as Christians, we know how we should guard our heart.
Yes.
If you know how to guard your heart, it means you are going to guard someone's heart.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Because you have to get into relationship. You are ready for it.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything you have to do concerning relationship, it will depend on your readiness and seriousness. Because if you are serious, you will not hurt someone.
Yeah.
But if you are not serious, you will ghost for sure. Because maybe you will try to attract someone or just use her within some few moments and just leave. But when they fail to give themselves to you, it means you yourself, your heart is going to get broken.
Yes.
Yeah. So as Christians, the Bible tells us that out of our hearts, the mouth speaks. Yeah. And that same Bible, it tells us that out of our bellies shall flow what? Rivers of living waters. So
yes,
if we have that character and if we have that mindset of applying God's word, we are not going to hurt others. At the same time, we are not going to hurt ourselves.
So true.
I'll just encourage and suggest that we should first get ready, and we should first get ready before getting into a relationship. First be ready for it. First prepare. Before God even brought Eve into Adam's life, he first prepared Adam by giving him a work to do.
This is powerful.
Revelation right there.
The same applies to us. We have to first prepare ourselves.
Interesting. 100%.
That's what
I love what you say, that if you cannot guard your heart, you can't actually protect another person's heart. It means you are actually going to ruin and also hurt them the more. And I think I love that. But also an interesting point that you bring out at the last point, where you say you have to prepare. Preparation is key for a relationship. And when you say about preparation, you give a very beautiful example how God had to prepare Adam for Eve. And I think that is really powerful for us to note as Christian women, as Christian men, to know that preparation is important, because God himself prepared Adam to be able to receive Eve. And also, indeed, when he created Eve, he ensured that they can be able to coexist and live together. And that is really powerful and important.
Okay.
Charles.
Just to add on to what Paul said, a while back there, he made mention about, you know, the whole ghosting thing. It was actually bringing me to this example that I wanted to bring in. It is possible for your heart to be with someone, but then when it's not God's perfect timing. Okay, here.
Let's go in deeper.
Here's the example. So there's this time in my own life, I fell for someone's daughter.
Yes.
But at that moment in time, she was way beyond my league. Like, she was out of my league.
When you say out of your league, what are you meaning? Please explain more.
When I say out of my league, I mean financially, I mean status-wise. Yeah. At that moment in time, I did not even imagine that she would ever even look at me.
Okay.
But then, well, I didn't have to do much. When we began speaking, I wasn't transparent at the beginning.
Okay.
So here is when we begin talking, and then she lays out the plans, and I can see that there's so many plans, but then they're way beyond my league. I cannot reach all those plans at that moment in time. I'm still trying to hustle it out, and I'm still trying to stand on my 2 feet on my own, and I haven't yet made it there yet. But for her, in her sight, the demand was way much. It was bigger than me. So I I actually opted to ghost, and actually ghosted. But it brings me to this, that if I had been transparent enough from the beginning, if I had sat her down and actually shared some of these things with, and told her, you know what, I am over here today.
Yes.
This is the truth.
But at some point
I want to be up here. Yes. And you're way beyond where I am
vision.
At. This is the vision that I have. Can you tag along it? Can we make it happen together? Probably it would have made sense then.
Exactly.
So sometimes I also don't blame the guys that actually ghost. Sometimes they don't do it because, well, it's their way of life, or because, you know, it's their thing to wake up one morning, you know, and then lead someone on and then walk right out. No. Well, it's because sometimes when they get to a point of realization, they get to, you know, speak to themselves on the inside, I guess they're lied to by the enemy that, come on, Charlie, you're never going to have, you know, someone like this, because they're way beyond their league. And that's what the devil does.
I want actually to come in there and ask you another question. Because now, in moments or points where you're ghosting them because you feel you're not at the same stage. And I love what you say, that you were not open enough in the very beginning.
Transparency.
You were not transparent, and you didn't share to let them know that you're at a certain stage and they are here. Do you think, from your experiences, do you think that women or girls, ones you've encountered, or the ones in the world right now, they want men who are on the same level like them, or you think these two can really work out?
Well, right now, I believe if you are transparent enough and your intentions are clear, that, you know, wedding is the plan that we have to do, and things like that. We're going to do things the right way. Now I believe that you can actually sit down with someone and share some of these things with them. Then you can be able to weigh where someone is at in your life, and you can be able to know there and then immediately that, okay, this is someone that I am actually going to do life with. There and then you'll be able to know this person is not up for it. They'll either tell you straight up, and they'll be honest and tell you, you know what, I'm sorry, but I don't think that you are the one for me. So that it's clear enough that she's going to roll with me, or I have to let go of this now.
Should we say it's an
ego
issue?
Or it is not for me right now.
Should I say it's an ego issue?
Well,
especially for men.
Especially
finding
for men.
yourself in a situation where a girl you want is probably on a certain stage higher than you, but she is willing to actually live with you, but and you grow together with you, but you feel you can't handle that.
You feel you cannot handle it because, you know,
is it right?
It's more like, let me save myself the embarrassment of later.
But
let me just,
I think
I need to speak for women anyway.
Not that I'm defending them, but listen, I'm just being real.
No, but that is good.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
It happens a lot, and I think we can hear from you.
Yes, it's good when we approach this spiritually and based on biblical views or what the Bible says, because it will help us have more meaning in life.
Yeah.
But where we are right now in the world system, there are demands.
Yeah.
And people have expectations. You find women at church who will tell you, for me, I'm only dating this person who's driving. And I'm only dating a guy who gets like 7 figures. For me, I'm only, so we have people who have expectations, and these people are in church. And
with us.
And with us. And you find that a brother in the church probably doesn't have the things that are expected of him. And because you pray from the same church, you see each other over and over, you might be, you feel like, let me start a relationship with this person. Maybe. Because in the church there are different pockets. Paul tells us not to what fellowship does light have with darkness? With what fellowship does unrighteousness have with righteousness, or light? Or unbelievers. So he tells us, he gives us a line there that we should not actually get into a relationship with someone who does not know God. So when we come to church, there are people who we assume that know God, that we pray with.
And
yet they have expectations. That's why now
should we say these expectations come with pretense?
Well, not pretense.
They're pretending.
Sense of knowing God.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Do we have such?
The church is a hospital. I believe so, because I don't want to only. The church is a hospital. People are going through different journeys, different situations, different issues, problems. So God is dealing with people differently in the church. And now you have two people that probably want to go into a relationship, but one person has an expectation from the other person. That's what I told you at the beginning, that every time we come into a relationship, we expect other people to give. Yet actually for us, we are supposed to know that when we enter a relationship, we are to give. So in that way, you find that this cannot work. You find that people are ghosting each other. People start from somewhere, then in the end, they stop somewhere. Because expectations are not being met. So it breaks the fellowship, it breaks the companionship. Whatever partnership was there, it is broken because an expectation was not met. So that's what people are facing in church today. And we need to go back to what God actually told us in the beginning. Because when you read Ezekiel, he will tell you that I'll take away the heart, a heart of stone, and I'll put a heart of flesh in you. That everyone is in a journey where the hearts are being softened. That whatever the world made you think that you should have, you should actually drop that and have what God wants to.
That's so perfect.
So if I've seen people who have had successful marriages, yet they started at the beginning. Probably the wife used to earn probably millions of money, but actually the man was earning like 100 or 200,000. But they entered the relationship putting God first out of everything, not depending or expecting someone to have certain things so that they enter relationships with them. So I found out that these people have had actually a successful marriage. But we know that not all marriages are perfect, because there are still journeys. You still get to know someone more deeply and intimately, more than actually it is in dating. Because in dating, you only know things that they can only reveal. That's on the surface. It's only in marriage where actually you start to see what the other person is actually made of, and what their emotions are. Really, one of the purposes as to why God designed sexuality in marriage is because He wanted people to know and to be known. There is a certain level.
I'm going to pause you. Can you pause a little bit?